Joe. How are you?
Good. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm good.
Where are you? Are you out in the West Coast today?
Yes, I'm in LA.
Oh, nice and warm.
Oh, yeah. Where are you?
I'm in Richmond, Virginia, which was warm last week. It was like 80, and today is 23. So I had to come out and start the heater in the studio before I got going.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
way too cold.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, I appreciate you, longtime fan. I appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Absolutely. No problem.
So, John Five and the Creatures, you're about to head out on the road on a tour. I think this month, right? Next, or April. What's it going to be like to
Yeah.
finally get back on a proper sort of tour after all of this nonsense we've lived through?
Um, I keep on telling the guys, and I think this is, going to be the best tour we're going to do because of the fact everybody's going to be so happy to be back. It's like if you had a really long school year and your summer vacation is just about to start, you're like, yes, and that's how excited everybody is right now. And everybody's really, really looking forward to it. So, including me more than anyone. And I just am going to be excited to see everybody and not be weird at meet and greets and all that stuff. It's just everything's going to be normal.
I imagine the energy is going to be off the chain, right? At least the first few, because people like myself, the fans, are going to be just as excited to be there as you are playing.
Absolutely. I mean, again, it's just the energy in the room is going to be electric, and it's for any concert that's going on out there, because people have had such a hard time. They had such a hard struggle, like with, God forbid if anybody's family got ill or friends got ill and what they've been going through and things like that. So, this is therapeutic for people. People need to go out and see concerts and need to get out and have fun. And, 2022 is going to be one hell of a year for a lot of bands and a lot of people.
It's starting off great. I mean, the only thing I worry about sometimes is there might be too much of a flood out there, right? I mean, maybe not in the venues you're playing, but on the lesser venues, everyone's been not making money for so long. They got to get out there and try and make a living again, right? So it's going to be a flood.
Sure. I mean, there is a flood of people because everyone's like, like, yay, let's go out and play. So everyone's running out and getting crazy and stuff like that. But it's okay. Everything will level itself out over time, and it's wonderful. I'm just very happy for not only the Creatures and Zombie, but all the other bands that are going out, and especially very, very happy for the people.
I love your optimism. That's great.
It's true though. It's just a natural thing because we went through something that was so devastating, and people need this, and a lot of things were taken away,
Oh
and
yeah.
some of the things are being brought back.
Oh yeah, and I think it's as we're going along, we're seeing more and more brought back. What's it going to be like playing The Sinner? I mean, it was released like 6 months ago, right? That's a not a normal time frame to get out and support a record. It's a little bit different now, right?
Sure, it's well, things are so different nowadays. I mean, a lot of the bands don't even put out new music and they'll go tour, which is fine. It's just I love playing new music, and when we were locked down, I wanted to, I had so much time on my hands, just like everybody else did. So what I wanted to do was like a song. I would take a song and I would rehearse it, and then I would go into the studio and play it from the beginning to the end with no edits, no overdubs or anything.
Hmm.
And I just wanted to try to achieve that, and it took time. And that's what I had more than anything was time. I had a lot of time on my hands, and it was really good for me. And because that's how musicians used to do it back in the 40s and 50s and well, 30s, 40s, 50s. They had to just go in and they'd had to be so good, they'd just have to knock things out.
Yeah. And I think maybe after all this, we're going to see some sort of renaissance or artistic renaissance because people were, like you said, honing their craft and practicing and working on stuff. And now that the floodgates are opened again, I think we're going to see all this great new art that, not just music, but even art that people have been locked away perfecting. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Because I remember I was like, whoa, there's not even new movies out. There's not even
Right.
new shows out, and I was like, this is really weird. So, yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
How did you get involved in the Dreams of Distortion, documentary?
The director got a hold of me and said, we want to do a documentary on you. And I was like, who am I, Abraham Lincoln? Like,
Right.
and but it's about inspiration and it's about going after your dreams. The documentary is called Dreams of Distortion. And because it's hard for people to leave their hometown, it's hard for people to leave their friends and their family. And yeah, it's very difficult, almost, impossible. But you just have to do it. You have to, like, if you want to go after your dreams, you gotta do it. And that's what I did. I came out to California and I did my best. And I would, call people, cold call them. They didn't know who I was. And I would talk to people and ask people. I just was crazy. And the documentary is about inspiration and going after your dreams and being obsessive and things like that. And there's a lot of people in the documentary. There's Halford, there's Zombie, there's Peter Criss, there's Gary from Skinner, there's Katie Lang, there's Michael Anthony, there's Rudy Sarzo. I mean, there's a ton of people in it.
Right. I imagine you had to. You said you were like cold calling people, but I imagine pre-internet you had to do something like that, right? Because it was either make or break. You got to make it work if you've left everything.
Yeah, my advice to people when they ask me, I try to do something every single day towards your dream. Because, there's a lot of days in the year and years can go by fast. But if you do one thing every day, one thing, if it's make a phone call or if it's play a gig or make a connection, that's something. And those things will build up and they'll add up. And that's exactly what I did.
And it worked for you. I also see that you guys are doing a live. You're shooting some live stuff. Is that for DVD or is that going to be for just a live record or both?
Well, what I've been doing is I put out these records. My last one was Invasion, and I put out Live Invasion. So this album's called Sinner, and I'll put out Live Sinner. And I just thought to myself, just imagine, like, I'll use example. I see Kiss in the background there. Yeah. Just imagine if, like, Kiss put out, Destroyer, and then they put out Destroyer Live, and they put out amazing. Rock and Roll Over. And they put out Rock and Roll Over Live. And all those songs from those albums were played live. I mean, that would be unbelievable. Yes. Because nowadays we can do that. But back then it was a very hard thing to do. But now we can take, a personal studio out and record these shows. And, that's what we're doing. And why not? People enjoy it and they like to be part of the shows, a part of the live album. And it's a lot of fun.
That's pretty amazing. What do you have planned after this U.S. tour? Are you hitting the road for the festivals in Europe, or are you kind of?
Yeah, we're going to do Zombie, Mudvayne, Static X, Powerman 5000. We're going to do that, and super excited about that.
That's a crazy lineup.
Oh, it's the best. I'm so there's my favorite pastime is touring in the summer. There's nothing. To me, there's nothing better. It's just so comforting. You get to hang out with your friends. It's warm. those warm nights, those hot, sweaty shows. I mean, there is nothing better.
Do you get to get out and enjoy some of those cities when you're in them?
I make a point to.
Okay.
I make a point to get out, take a walk, go to record stores, things like that. I think it's important. I know my way around every big city pretty much.
That's pretty wild.
Which is odd to say. Yeah, it's pretty wild. I know where certain restaurants are or certain record stores or things like that. It's really cool because I've been doing it for so long.
So I got two more questions for you. First of all, did you ever imagine you'd still be doing it at this stage of the game?
Yes.
Good for you. So there was no plan B. You were all in.
Yeah. I'll this is what I'll do forever. There's no other option. This is just what I'll do, and because I love it so much.
Right.
I enjoy it so much. It's just such a pleasure for me, and it's a pleasure for people watching as well, and that makes me happy.
And so going back to touring real quick, is there some place you haven't been that you'd like to get to?
There are a lot of places. I'll play, I'm the kind of guy that will go and play anywhere just to experience. I want to squeeze 2 lifetimes into one.
Yeah.
And really try to experience everything and enjoy and make people happy, make people smile, shake people's hands, talk to them, and all around the world. So why not?
I think you're succeeding at that. I'll tell you a quick story. My son, when I told him I was doing this interview, he pulled up this video that I had not seen anywhere of you playing like 9 million different styles of metal or music on like a Hello Kitty guitar.
Oh, yeah.
He plays that thing all the time. I hadn't seen it before. He references it, and he showed it to me the other day. That's pretty great. And you definitely brought a smile to probably the millions of people that watch that for sure.
Yeah. I'll pick anything with a string on it.
That's kind of funny. Well, John, that is all I've got. I don't know if I missed anything you want to cover. I appreciate it.
No, thank you. That was wonderful.
Long time fan. Sorry if we meandered a little bit. I just kind of like to talk, so.
No, that's wonderful. That's what it's all about. That's the best interviews, when you're just having a conversation.
Yep, I've got questions, but I kind of just see where they end up. And I am so glad to see you back out on the road. I'm hoping I get to see you on this side of the country here. I haven't looked at the routing yet.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Hey, thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it. Be safe, and we'll see you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Ever wonder what a punch from Elton John feels like?
Or how you'd cope with having turned down the chance to be in Nirvana?
Or what signal Keith Richards gives when he wants you to get the hell out of his hotel room?
Fans of Too Much Effing Perspective don't have to wonder, because they've heard these exact stories and a jillion others on our podcast. I'm Alex Hoffman, former tour manager for Radiohead.
And I'm musician and comedy writer Alan Keller. On the TMEP show, we get guests like Nancy Wilson from Heart, Jeremiah Freites from the Lumineers, and Modern Family's Julie Bowen to tell us things they may have only shared with their therapist, clergy, or a TMZ stringer.
So join us on Too Much Effing Perspective. That's EFFING Perspective. The only podcast you crank up to 11.